So the baby shot out like a water gun, and then drenched all of the midwives and the midwife students, and they're like, "Hi, Sarah." Hi. So Sarah Pringle, you said certified midwife.
Certified nurse midwife.
I can't talk today, it's fine.
Okay.
Certified nurse midwife.
Yes.
I want to know, like, what that means. I want to know, what is a midwife? And I want to know, like, what are the different kinds? And I also want to know, like, how did you come to this profession?
Yeah.
Like, I have a general idea of midwives, but no.
Yeah, there are lots of types of midwives. There are lay midwives who have no medical training, but have kind of like learned on the go.
Okay.
And then there are certified midwives who don't have to have a medical background, and they take a specific training and are credentialed by a midwifery board.
Okay.
And then a nurse midwife goes through nursing school and then gets a master's degree to become a midwife.
Okay.
So many levels, and in each state there are different laws of who can practice and who cannot.
Okay.
Who can do home birth, who can do hospital birth. So as a certified nurse midwife in Illinois, I can do home birth and hospital birth, but I only do hospital birth right now.
Okay.
Although I was trained in Missouri in home birth.
I love that.
So that was really fun.
So what exactly, like, is the role of a midwife? Like, what does a midwife do? And does that vary depending on what kind of midwife you are?
It does.
Okay.
Well, it means with woman.
Okay.
And that could be with anyone now.
Yeah.
But we really feel like we are creating a space for people to birth.
Okay.
So like I'm holding the space. So I'm help guiding you. I'm giving you recommendations. I'm telling you all the things. And then I'm giving you and your family the opportunity to create whatever it is you want.
Okay.
But I'm like the medical piece. I'm like, this is what's happening.
Okay.
Definitely home birth. There's just less regulation. You can eat, you can drink. We're trying to get stuff in the hospitals to kind of mimic that. Every hospital is a little bit different.
Right.
But I always tell people, I feel like I'm your guide. I'm your pregnancy guide.
I love that.
So yeah, because I just really want them to have a great experience. I feel special because they choose me to take care of them at their most vulnerable and at a really cool, fun, exciting time. And so I feel really privileged to be let in that room and to be able to hold space.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
So is there, when a woman gives birth, are there nurses and midwives, or is there an either or what is the difference and how does that work?
In the hospital, there are nurses and midwives.
Okay.
I can come at any time the nurse calls me, but if it's a patient who's laboring naturally, I will show up when transition hits so that I can help them get to their final goal.
Okay.
A lot of the times if they have an epidural, I'll show up when they start pushing.
Okay.
And I actually do the delivery, and then my nurses help me.
So what would your role in that setting be? What does your job look like when you are in the hospital room with a mom giving birth?
Keeping mom safe.
Okay.
Keeping baby safe, and then respecting the wishes of the mom.
Okay. And what would that look like? For people that just have no idea.
Usually it's me just sitting in the room, kind of seeing how everything feels, asking the mom, are you okay? Are you okay with these people in the room? Are you okay with the lighting? Is there anything else you'd like me to get you?
Okay.
Making sure she has everything she needs. And if she doesn't know, I can help move her or do something with her. You know? So, and then watching the monitor, making sure that the baby also is happy. So I'm responsible for both of those people until that baby is born.
Got it. And how is the role of a midwife different at a home birth?
At a home birth, a lot of the times you will have a nurse or an assistant that will come with you to help you. Sometimes we had one, sometimes we had two. I think it just depends on who is around. And then you'd have your midwife, and a lot of the times a midwife student. And the nurse would kind of do what we did. We were just really the ones that caught the baby. They kind of helped with all the behind scenes stuff. Can I tell you a short story?
I would love a story, and I have one for you too.
So when I was very first doing home birth, I was so scared because I'd worked as a labor and delivery nurse in the hospital. So we were outside. It was actually here in St. Louis on someone's patio.
Oh no!
In the dark, their neighbors, they weren't super far away, in a birth pool, surrounded by mosquito lights, because we were getting the heck just bit out of us by mosquitoes.
Oh, I hate it. I'm just itching thinking about it.
But I had a flashlight, and we helped birth that baby in that pool, and it was like the coolest thing I ever did in my whole life.
That is awesome. I will have a question about this later,
Okay.
but I'll tell you this story first because I'm ADHD. It's fine. So I had a midwife send me a story. You made me think about it when you were talking about catching the baby.
Yeah.
How the dad really wanted to catch the baby.
Yeah.
And like they agreed like that was going to be their special moment.
Okay.
Right? So the time's coming up. This dad is so nervous about messing up. He's like shaking. And as the baby is like crowning, he's like, oh my God, because I don't know anything about it because I've never had a baby before, but I hear that the crowning moment is a moment,
Intense.
is an intense moment. And he is like so stressed. He drops his glasses, like his glasses fall off of his face. And he's like, oh my God, I can't see. I don't know. And the midwife was like, we don't have time for this. And just grabbed his hand. He's like, put him there and said, just trust me. Just go with it. And so he's like, I can't see anything, but okay. So it was so sweet and so funny. She's like, you're going to have this moment and you can't see it, but you'll feel it and you know that you're there.
Love that.
And so as soon as she got the baby in his hand and she's like, don't move. And she went and found the glasses and put them on his face. It was
Poor
so
guy.
sweet. He did it. He was a champ.
That's
He did
awesome.
it. That's all that matters is that it happened.
It did.
It's fine. That's fine. And he had his moment. Then he brought the baby to mom, put her on her chest. It was perfect.
A lot of dads love to help.
Oh.
I think it's the funnest.
I feel like a lot of guys want to help so bad but don't know what to do.
My favorite was my surrogate couple, though.
Yeah?
For sure.
What was that?
They both helped me deliver the baby.
That's so
It
cute.
got to be, all three of us got to kind of help bring their little baby out. It was wonderful.
That's adorable.
Yeah, that's
So
what
I heard something, and this kind of goes back to like giving birth in the pool. I don't know if this is correct or not. I could be so off. I think I saw it on TikTok, and I was like, oh, that sounds about right. I heard that scientifically, the way that women like usually give birth, like laying down on their backs, is actually one of the most painful ways that women could give birth.
Yes.
That's correct?
Yes.
And I heard that it stems from like an old king that just like got a
like
kick out
in
of
France
it.
wanted to watch all the babies be born.
Yeah, and like just thought it was funny that they were
And
in
then
so much pain.
You know, and then it came, to America with the use of doctors and making everything like super medical. And, it went from having babies in your home to having babies in the hospital. And it became this very medical thing. And I think right now we're kind of trying to take it back a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So then why do we still do it that way if that's like the most painful way? Why is that a thing?
Anybody that's going natural, I do not recommend it.
Okay.
Now, sometimes if I come in the room and they're like this on the bed and I say, do you want to move? And they say, no, I'm not moving on.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's fine. You do what you want to do. Like, that's okay.
If you're good, you're good. But usually try to get them up on the squat bar
Okay.
or hands and knees or even laying on your side.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do you find is the least painful way for a woman to give birth?
I don't know that there is one.
Okay,
But I
okay.
feel like gravity helps.
Okay.
So I feel like and really just them being in like whatever position makes them feel more like they can manage. Like
Yeah.
if they feel like they're still in control. So some people are like, I do not want to hold on to something. Like I don't want to squat. Or, I don't
Okay.
want to be on my hands and knees. Like I want to be facing. So, it all just depends. But in an
Interesting.
upright position, if you're having a baby without an epidural is usually kind of the easiest.
Interesting. And if they do have an epidural, do you think that laying down is becomes the easiest or no?
Well, it's easiest for the medical staff for sure. And sometimes it's easier for me. I'm not going to lie. But a lot of times people will come and saying, Sarah, I do not prefer to do that. And if they can move their legs, we can do whatever they want to do. Sometimes when their legs are so numb,
They can't.
it's really hard, especially with staff limitations, if I don't have anybody to like help us.
Right.
But I try. If someone says, Sarah, I want to do something, if there's a will, there's a way, and I will try to get them to do it.
I love
because I
that.
want them to have a good birth experience.
So how did you like decide this was the career path for you?
Oh, I had no idea. I was going to be a journalist on the nightly news. Yeah, I was going to be on the nightly news. That's what I wanted to do.
I love it.
And then I don't know. I was burned out. I was in California. I moved out here. I'm like, I think I'm just going to be a nurse. Nurses get jobs. My mom laughed at me and said, you're going to throw up. I don't know what's wrong with you. You can't even like look at blood. no, I'm like, Mom, I need a job. I just need a job. I need a career and a job. So I went to nursing school.
Oh, I love it.
And then I got out of nursing school and I was like, I'm going to sell drugs. I'm going to be a drug rep. So I got an interview with labor and delivery, and then the next interview was with NICU, because I said, if I'm going to do this, it's got to be mamas and babies. But then labor and delivery took me.
I love it.
And then I realized I did not like labor and delivery, working on the floor as much.
Okay.
But I became a nurse practitioner, and as I'm seeing pregnant people in my office and having these really cool bonds with them, and then saying, Sarah, I really feel like you're a friend. I really feel like we've got this great connection. I really wish you could be at my birth.
Oh, I love that.
And then I was like, I'm missing out. And the moment I helped catch my first baby, I knew it was my calling. I knew exactly that was what I meant to be. It is now my personality. I am a midwife, and I will always be a midwife.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so
I love
sweet.
it.
So, like, what do you think are some major misconceptions? Well, actually, first question.
Yeah.
What did you not love about being on the floor in labor and delivery?
Well, I had to be there 12 hours a day. And that, we have 3 days off, but 12 would turn into 14, turn into whatever. I didn't like it when people's requests got ignored by the physicians or the midwives or whoever was there. I just felt like this is your care and you should be the one in charge of it. And so I didn't like that, because I really didn't have any power to do anything about that. And then I could never get a vacation.
Really?
Because I was like a millionth down on the seniority list. So I was like, I need to do something that works better. Because I was like, I want to get married one day. I want to have kids. And
Absolutely.
I went back to school and did, 9 to 5 in an office as a nurse practitioner, women's health nurse practitioner for like 8 years before I went back.
My mom will love that story.
Yeah.
My mom
I was like, if I don't go back now, I'm never going back. My husband's like, our children are 3 and 4. I'm like, they'll be fine.
They'll be okay.
I have pictures of Reagan carrying around my pelvis.
Oh.
And Nolan explained postpartum hemorrhage to our neighbor.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Teaching them young.
Yeah.
Being informed.
Yep.
That's important.
Yeah.
So do you think that there are any major misconceptions that people might have about midwives or like the profession or what you do or anything like that?
And I think it depends on where you live, because like California, like Chicago, tons of midwives. They're part of the care all the time. But like people are like, oh, you still deliver at home. And I'm like, no, I can. But I don't
have to.
And I'm also medically trained.
Yes. So your people like don't assume, like in many parts of the country, don't assume that midwives are medically trained.
Because there are midwives that aren't necessarily medically trained.
Can you explain to me what a doula is? 'Cause you said it earlier, and like I know they exist, but I don't really know what they do, and I would really love to know.
So they are the support person when I can't be there or the partner doesn't know what to do. They are skilled in birth. They know how to turn people, how to make people comfortable, how to take their mind off pain. Their job is to get them from A to B. And they do a beautiful job of it. Because they'll go in early labor, help mom relax, help get, things going. Like they are like the best support.
So they are the ones that stay with mom like the whole time?
Yes.
Okay. So does everyone...
And they advocate for them. They try to advocate. So like if I had a doula with maybe a physician that wasn't so up on natural birth, they would help to advocate while she was in pain, because it's hard to advocate for yourself while you're uncomfortable. So they're their advocates as well.
So does everyone get a doula? Like, is that... Okay, so how do you get a doula or a midwife?
You have to hire a doula.
Okay, so you have to hire a doula.
You have to hire a doula. Home birth midwives generally are not covered by insurance, but you can try to get that covered afterwards. But like, I take insurance since I work at a hospital, so there's no issues there.
Okay,
but yeah,
so
doulas you have to pay for separately.
Are midwives the same way, or are they like with the hospital?
I'm with the hospital. It's all included.
Okay, interesting. So you're employed by the hospital.
I'm employed by like an office group, and I have privileges at the hospital.
Got it. I know about privileges because I watch Grey's Anatomy.
So I work kind of like an outside office, but I have privileges, and that's where we do all of our work.
Interesting. Do you think that there's anything else that people don't understand about midwives or being a midwife that you like wish people knew or understood or anything like that?
I don't know. I really just wish that they would just come up and ask, because some people are like, I do not want a midwife. And I'm like, well, why do you not want a midwife? Because having a midwife is like the coolest thing in the whole world.
Yeah.
So, and the only thing I can't do is C-sections, but if you're my patient and I'm there and you need a C-section, I'm probably going to come back and be your birth photographer too.
So why, when you hear people say, I don't want a midwife, what is the typical reason that they
don't
say?
think I'm qualified.
Got it. Yeah. Interesting. And they just don't think that you're medically trained. No. That's wild. And they don't even bother to ask.
No. I deliver like 100 to 200 babies a year. I deliver more than my partners do. So
wow, interesting.
I catch. We hate the word deliver. It's not a pizza. We try to use the word catch.
Do you think that there's anything like about the birth process that a lot of people either don't know until they're there, or they really should prepare for or be aware of, or anything that you like want people to know or understand?
I just want people to be okay with the fact that things change. Okay. Not that they have to change their goals or their desires, but sometimes things happen. And so let's talk about those things, what's going to happen, what your options are, and then let the patient decide from there. But everything is not so strict.
Yes.
You know, babies don't always do what you want them to do. Cervixes don't do what you want them to do. So, I mean, there has to be a little bit of flexibility, but I always tell people, what are your main things that you want? And what's the main thing like you do not want? Like if this is all said and done, like what do you not want to happen?
Someone once sent me a story. A midwife said that she had a mom who was like, it was a single mom, and she was going to do this herself. She was fine. She accepted she was going to be a single mom. It is what it is, and she's a strong, powerful woman. She doesn't need anyone. She wants to experience the entire thing, just her and her nurses and her midwives and her child. That was it. And she told the midwife, I want to see all of it. I want you to get a mirror.
Cool.
And I want to watch everything. And the midwife was like, okay, but I'm just letting you know that it can get kind of intense. And she's like, no, I'm entering motherhood. The entire thing is intense. I'm fine. Well, it comes time to push. And she starts crowning, and she goes, oh my God, get that mirror away from me right now. I don't want to see it again this entire trip. And she's yelling at the midwife. She's like, you asked for this. She goes, why would you do that? She's like, you asked for it. I don't.
You just give it away.
She later apologized for yelling. She's like, it's okay. I understand. It's
people yell at me all
time.
the time. It's
Do they yell at you all the time?
Yeah, but they're not. I don't think they're trying to be like mean.
No, they're not.
And they always say, I'm sorry. I said, do not say you're sorry. I said, you are in pain. It is okay.
Is there any, can you think of any, like, obviously, we're talking about moms. We don't want to talk about moms, like, being mean while they're giving birth. Like, no.
They just, it's
uncomfortable. Yes, for sure. Absolutely. They're not in their right minds in that moment. That's a lot of pain.
Some people are very quiet about it.
Yes.
Some people are vocal about it.
And that's okay.
Totally
but
fine.
Can you think of any experiences that really stuck out in your mind as, like, this is a really memorable, interesting time?
I don't know. I think each birth is perfect in its own way. And I think that getting what they want in the end and having that experience kind of completes every birth for me, because I always talk about it with them. How do you think this went? What would we have done different? You know, we always talk about that, especially after they come back. But I just think getting that baby and having her wishes respected is like,
I love
the end all be all.
Well, someone once sent me a story of like a very memorable birth that they helped with, where I can never like say it properly. When your water breaks, what is that called? The
amniotomy?
Amniotic fluid. Okay, yes.
Fluid,
I keep trying to put a B in there.
Okay.
I don't know why. I keep trying to call it amniotic fluid, and I know that's not not it. So this woman said, this midwife said that her mom, her water broke, and there wasn't a whole lot of amniotic fluid. So they just assumed that there just wasn't a lot of amniotic fluid. Like, everybody is different. It happens. It's totally fine. When they go to deliver the baby, apparently what they found is that the baby was just in the position where it was blocking most of the amniotic fluid. Yep. So the baby shot out like a water gun and then drenched all of the midwives and the midwife students, and they're like,
I have been shot with baby poop. I have been shot with amniotic fluid, blood. Because like sometimes I'm on the ground. Like, really? I'm investing in knee pads now, because a lot of people like to do the hands and knees and the squat bar. And I'm on the ground. So
interesting.
Whatever happens.
It's so funny because like growing up, you never really like think about those things. And the moment that someone told me like, yeah, when you have a baby, you like poop the table in front of everyone. And like, I couldn't wrap my head around that for so long.
We just hide that. We just
Like,
hide that.
yeah, no, you don't talk about it. It doesn't really happen. But then I'm just like nothing to me is better birth control than hearing like
That.
the process.
Yeah.
And like I had some cousins that had babies like right around the same time of each other, and they were talking about like the process and what it was, and I'm sitting there like in the middle of a horror movie like, oh my God. And at the end they're like, but it was great, I want to have another one. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, again, this could just be something that I heard on TikTok. Someone told me that like your brain chemicals does something to like make you forget how painful birth was, to make you want to go through it again. And I don't know if that's just a fun, silly little quip.
It did not for me. I remember my first birth vividly.
Did you have another child after?
I did.
Oh my,
Because I knew that I had to have one more.
that happens.
And
you know
then
what?
it couldn't be that bad again. That's
Was it
right.
that bad again?
No, thank goodness. It flew out like a little rocket ship. It was
See,
great.
your body knew what to do.
Yeah.
That's,
First time, not so much.
Do you find that usually first time births are the most difficult?
Well, yeah, because nothing's ever passed through that space. So
Okay.
it usually can take some time to either get the baby in the right position or pushing. And pushing is exhausting, you know? So
What is the longest birth you've ever experienced? The longest and the quickest?
Oh, I mean, the quickest, I remember this vividly. She said, I birth quick. I said, okay. So she had me break her water. I literally went upstairs to go see some people on the postpartum floor. They called me right back down. It was like 15 minutes.
Wow.
So
How many kids did she have before? I'm just being
2.
nosy. Just 2?
2. I mean, it wasn't like a, an outrageous number. But yeah, she's like, I birth fast. And I said, okay. And I believed her.
I love that for her.
And then the longest one, I mean, 4 days. But that's
What?
like induction for like medical conditions. And, you're trying to get someone in labor.
That's crazy. Oh, bless her heart.
Exhausting.
Yeah.
They're tired.
Are they, so like what, when you have like a multi-day birth kind of thing, are they like up that whole time in like pain? Or are they able to sleep at
Depends
all?
on if they want an epidural or not.
Okay.
But some moms will choose no medication.
And they'll just be up for 4 days.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And they'll get like little breaks, but they're not like real breaks.
No.
Contracting, like we encourage them to like lay down, have snacks, that kind of thing.
Are they, so,
But most people that have that long of induction, at least in my office, tend to get an epidural. It's
fascinating. So I know you said that there's like, things are trying to change, all the things about like being able to eat when giving birth at a hospital. Tell me more about that. Like, when is the cutoff? When are you no longer allowed to eat? Like, what is the
hospital's
reason?
different. So I think the reasoning was that if you had to have an emergency C-section, they didn't want food in your belly so that you could kind of cough it up and get in your lungs, so aspirate it.
Okay, that makes sense.
There's been so many studies that show the risk of that is like
So small.
so, but I think it's just changing attitudes and showing people this stuff. And it's just, you do stuff one way and you keep doing it, So I think changing that pattern has been important. And our hospital, we finally did. We don't allow food after epidural.
Okay.
But they're allowed clear liquids and liquids. Just no actual like solid food. But like at the hospital I used to work at, food the whole time, they just had like a limited menu. So like lighter foods.
Okay. So like boosts.
Yeah.
Like that would be fine.
Oh, Boost would be fine. And people usually aren't like starving. Like they want like granola bars or like honey sticks or, little bits of food here and there. I definitely don't recommend a cheeseburger.
Right. But
That
like a
will just
protein
come right
shake.
back up.
Yeah.
That stuff's all great.
Fascinating. Because
It keeps your energy. Imagine if you had like a 2-day labor and no one feeds
Right,
you.
like I'm stuck on like 4 days of no eating or sleeping. Like, how miserable would that be? Bless her heart, man. And it's so like in the movies and the TV shows, you see like ice chips, but you never really get told why. You know what I mean?
Because they're really good. Hospital ice chips are delightful.
Why?
I don't know. They're just like little, they're like this little crunchy. I even eat them when I'm there. I don't know. But it keeps your mouth wet without having to like, swallow a whole
Interesting.
bunch. No, those things are good.
Okay, but like they can have food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. What are some other things that people like might not really know or understand about the birth process?
So it is a lot of work to birth. So it is not just laying there or just standing there. You have to be active, you have to move, you've got to squat, you've got to get that baby out. So it's just not, it takes a lot of people and a lot of minds. And when you have an epidural, it's not just laying there. We've got balls, we have positions, we have something called spinning babies, where if we feel like the baby's in a different position, we're going to like pretty much rotate you and put you on your head to get that baby friend out. Like it is a lot of work, and it takes a lot of skill, especially for the nurses and midwives and doctors, to sometimes, get a baby out.
Absolutely.
And I call them baby friends. They're my baby friends.
That's really cute. That's actually really cute.
And so baby friends, they don't listen. So sometimes you got to go in. Like this morning, baby friend listened, came right out, but that's not always the case.
The little tiny humans. Oh my God, I love it. So I know that like your primary goal when you're in there with a mom is to make sure that she's happy, she's comfortable, she's going through this process the way that she wants to do it.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that before the birth happens, there are multiple conversations about, here's what I want, whether it's epidural or not epidural. Here's who I want in the room. Here's the way that I want to be laying. Is there ever a time when, like, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Is there ever a time when, like, the birth is happening and things are clearly not working, or she looks in distress, where, like, other things are suggested? Or is it like no, we decided this beforehand, no, I'm not going to question?
I always tell them if something comes up or I think medically needs to be done, I will tell you.
Okay.
I will tell you the risks, and you will have to decide if that's something you want to do moving forward, like an episiotomy.
What is that?
It's where we cut the skin of the perineum to get the baby out faster.
Okay.
Those used to be very routine.
Okay.
They used to cut them on every single person that birthed. But what we have found out is that actually causes more trauma.
Oh.
It's actually better to tear naturally and let your body kind of do that.
Okay.
But sometimes in dire emergency, if we have a baby that is just not doing well and we think needs really extra attention, that is a procedure that you can do to hasten that last little bit of delivery. And so that is always a conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But a lot of women, you'll find, do not get to have that conversation.
Wow.
As I've been on social media, I find that not a lot of women get to talk about their choices. They don't get to choose things. They don't get the options.
Interesting. Well, I saw this on social media not long ago, because I have some social media nurse friends who I love with my entire heart and soul. And they're very big on keeping the moms informed about all opinions, all options, all opinions, even if they've already said this is not what I want. That's fine.
Yep.
Just want you to know what the options are in case something changes.
Yes.
And I know that there are some people who hate that for some reason. And I don't really understand that. Do you have any insight as to why they might dislike that so much? Okay. I just wasn't sure if I was missing something.
But again, I'm just there as the little guide, and I'm there to hold their space. And I always tell them, it's still my responsibility to tell you, and then you can ignore me as soon as I'm done.
Yes.
But I have to tell you this information. Whatever you do with it.
Well, even like there's a lot of nurses that like aren't required to give all the options, but they still do because they just feel like it's right. And I agree. I think that having all of the information is never a bad thing.
Never
You don't
a bad
have
thing.
to take all, like, just because someone's saying, hey, here are all the options, doesn't mean someone's telling you your idea is wrong or your idea is bad. We just want to make sure that you have all the information necessary so that you can make an informed decision for yourself.
Yes.
And everyone's decisions for themselves are going to be different.
Yes.
That's okay. We're all different people. We all have different needs. We all have different wants. I just will never understand. So I was like, maybe she'll know.
I have zero insight. I have zero insight. But what I tell my patients is, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not going to judge you. This is your decision.
Have you ever had someone who was upset that you gave them all the information?
I mean, I'm sure people were probably not, because sometimes they don't want to hear some of the information. But again, I say, you chose me to take care of you. I'm at least going to tell you.
Right.
That way I have said my piece. What you do with it is up to you.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. Sometimes people are a mystery to me.
Yeah, and I have learned that. I know people, I think in the beginning I'd always be like, I don't know why people don't listen to me. I'm telling them the things that I know, and people are people. So you just got to tell them, and then you just got to accept it. Like, things don't bother me. Like, if someone doesn't get a shot, I would get a shot. I would recommend you get a shot. But if they don't get a shot, I can't do anything about that.
Yeah, you can't force
And
people.
I'd rather people come to me and receive care than not come to me and go and not have any care.
Yes.
Because they don't have someone that will do that for them.
Agree. I love that. So then what are some things that women can do to prepare for birth beforehand and like be ready? Some things that might make the process a little bit easier.
I think just watching videos.
Oh, goodness.
I love YouTube videos.
Okay. They have those on YouTube for birth?
All kinds of things on YouTube, girl, you know that.
Okay.
Just videos and just like even going to a birth class, even if it's not like a fancy one, just like, oh, these are the things that are used. These are monitors. I think that kind of can take away some anxiety too about just like the things that are used. But I will talk about birth the moment you step in my office with a pregnancy test if you want to.
I love that. What about for like dads to be or partners to be? What do you think are some things that they can do beforehand that are helpful, and what are some things that you found that are really good for them to do during the birth? Because like we said, so many partners want to help and they want to contribute, they want to be a part of.
Just hit him. I said, get away.
Go away. But like they don't always know what to do.
Yeah, so I always tell them, what is she like in pain? What do you normally do for her when she has her period? If she cuts herself, what are her things? Does she like music? Does she like to be read to? Does she want you to massage her back? These are all things that you can ask beforehand.
I like that. I never even thought about like that.
Like what helps relax you normally, you know?
Yeah.
And so bringing that into that space, and for some people it's do not touch me. For some people, it's, you know, they want their hands rubbed or their feet rubbed, or just whispering like, you've got this, you know, so every woman's different, but I always ask them to find a few things that they can do together and work on that they can bring into the birth space.
Interesting. I love it. Actually, I actually do think that Jen might have said something similar.
Oh, yeah?
But I really like your examples. like they were specifically things that I never thought about before. Not that like I've ever given birth or had that experience, but it's things that are like, oh yeah, listening to music, or like
I had a galaxy plate up on the wall once, you know, and the Star Wars theme. That's what they wanted, so that's what we got.
So cool.
That was really fun.
Like this is not the same as giving birth, but like for whatever reason, when I went to the dentist growing up, they would always play the same Britney Spears playlist for like the teenage girls.
Yeah.
That would like go to the dentist. Okay. 'Cause I have very sensitive teeth, and I'm also like allergic to fluoride. Oh. So it was like a process as a kid figuring out like what worked and what didn't. But yeah, like just thinking like that's what you made me think of the moment.
Give you funny glasses, put on some music.
Yeah,
you know?
I like that a lot. That's really sweet.
All those things come over, and I do have to tell you the funniest story that has ever happened to me.
Please.
So we were in birth, and it was their second or third child, and I did not know she was going to do this, but as soon as he got the scissors to cut the cord, she screamed, "Ow!" All of us jumped, and she just started laughing. She's like, "I've always wanted to do that," because there's no pain reception.
Oh.
There's no
and
pain.
She just wanted to make it.
She screamed.
So she played a prank.
She did. Right at delivery. I thought,
that's commitment.
I know.
She was ready.
She was ready. She said, I've been waiting for this moment. And I was like, oh my gosh,
that's hilarious. Okay, if I'm gonna have to keep that in mind one day. Tell my friends.
I'm surprised in all my years, no one has ever done that.
She didn't warn anybody.
No.
I love
literally jumped because I'm holding it, and I'm like, what?
I would have warned the person holding my baby for sure.
She was holding the baby. So
okay.
Yeah, the baby was fine, but yeah, scared us all, and her husband just. And I still joke about it to this day. He's like,
that's a fun lady. That's a fun lady. I bet she's so fun at parties, like unironically. So then, are there any things that people may do that unintentionally make your job harder than it needs to be?
Oh, I'm sure all the time, but that's my job as your midwife.
That's okay, but it's more of like, I'm thinking of like the way people, I'm trying to think of how to phrase it, because like your job's a little different where when people are being rude, it's not that they're being rude.
Oh no.
They're in pain.
Oh no.
So like I always ask this question because like when I was a teacher, there were so many ways that I would interact with kids or parents who were like in a way where like they were just making my life so much more difficult than it needed to be, just because they just didn't understand that these things were so unhelpful. And I know that your job's a little different in that like there are women who are in pain. There are going to be complications. So like it's not necessarily a mind your manners type of thing, but it's like, what are some things that like I wouldn't say a perfect patient, because again, they're going to go through pain. They're going to be in a very vulnerable state. But what are some things that women could do that would to show more appreciation towards midwives, to not make midwives feel unappreciated? Maybe that's a good way to look at it.
Well, and I always feel appreciated.
Oh, I love
always
that.
Because again, birth is a weird space, and so even if they are being difficult or not doing things that I would want to do, I have to just be like, it's their birth. Yeah. I mean, it might be annoying in my brain, but I have completely given up on changing their mind.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll try, but then, you know, I just have to be annoyed and I just sit there.
I love that.
Yeah, it's their birth.
No, yeah, like it is what it is, and that's fine.
I want them to have what they want.
Right.
But like as far as pain goes, like if someone is like out of control, I can try to help, you know, kind of like, because I don't want them to be, I don't want them to be so uncomfortable that they are in distress.
Yeah.
So, you know, I have different breathing techniques that we'll do, and I just say different things to like, okay, let's breathe that energy down, and like, let's put a focus on this. And so like, those are things that I can do to kind of help them regroup. But honestly, it is their space. And if they just want to scream for 3 hours, then...
Have you ever had to get like intense with family members who are being like pushy or anything like that?
I haven't. My nurses sometimes usually take that responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm usually down here trying to catch a baby. So.
I know Jen's definitely had some of those experiences.
Yeah, they definitely take the brunt of that from me for sure.
So that's like a nurse thing. Midwife thing is more like...
I would if I had to.
No, of course.
Yeah, but no, it's usually them. And usually I ask, like, who do you want in the room? And somebody will be like, so-and-so's trying to sneak in, but don't let them in. And I'll be like, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Tell security, they're not coming.
I don't know if I told this story before or if I just planned to and I never got a chance to. I might have told it with Jen, but I might not have, so I'll just repeat it again. That was like a year ago. It's fine. I can repeat it again if I need to. So this woman was having a COVID birth.
Okay.
And so they would only allow one person in the delivery room, and obviously that had to be the baby's father. But the mom was just so devastated that she wasn't going to be able to have her sister there, because her sister, that's her other half. That's her person, right? And if they fought with the hospital and the nurses and the doctors and the midwives for weeks leading up to this birth, and they wouldn't budge, and they all felt bad, but like, you know, it's regulation. Like, what are you going to do?
Everybody was sick. We were trying to figure,
So the time comes for the birth, and she gives birth to this baby, and as soon as the baby's born, the umbilical cord is cut. You just hear, "Whoa!" from the back closet where the sister was hiding. Oh my God. To be there. She's, I'm an auntie! Just so excited.
That is great.
And just sat there and was like, I'm sorry, I know I'm not supposed to be here. I'll leave. You don't even have to call security. I just wanted to be here
that is
for my sister. And the midwife just goes, how long were you in that closet? Like, props. And we won't call security. You're going to leave. We just don't want to get in trouble. I just want to know how long you were in that closet for. She goes, I was in there for 18 hours. She goes, I brought a battery pack, headphones, Netflix on my phone. I'm ready. And I was not missing my sister giving birth.
That is dedication. Oh my God.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I hate that they're breaking the rules, but I love it so much.
Honestly, like, I'd be the same way. I'd be like, right? I mean, that's really good. That's really good.
Like, as long as none of the nurses or anyone got in trouble, the midwives didn't get in trouble for breaking the rules. Like, who's going to check the closet?
No one.
Nobody.
Literally no
one. They got other priorities going on. So, like, as long as no one got in trouble, I love it.
That's awesome.
But, yeah.
I did not have any of that during COVID.
Oh, my. I know one person who had a baby during COVID. It was another cousin, and it was definitely like a stressful. Wants her mom there, but obviously wants the dad there. Like,
I had some people pick their moms.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I just were like, look, I just really need the support person.
I need my mom.
And I love him, but I
love him, and I get this is his baby. He'll be able to, but I need my mommy and this.
Yeah.
I love those videos. Okay, this is gonna make me cry just thinking about it, because it's like, I love those videos that I see on TikTok of like the women who are just giving birth, and it's like obviously like everyone's so excited to see the baby, but then you see like the grandmother like checking on her baby.
Yeah.
The mom. It's just so sweet.
I know. I love when
That would be
amazing
my mom.
grandmas are there.
Yeah. Oh my God. And it's like, obviously she's so excited to be a grandma and she wants to be, but she's also checking, that's her baby.
Yeah. And then when you have complications, the mimis and the grandmas are right behind me.
Oh.
Sarah, what's going on? Sarah's okay. Sarah, what's going on? And I just have to keep talking and tell them, because that's their baby right there.
Oh, the last 2 episodes, man, yours and James, there's so many tears. But like good
It's
tears.
beautiful. I brought
tears.
my student to like my last 2 deliveries. She's a family nurse practitioner student, and she can't do anything in there, but she can watch. And she cried both times.
Oh, so like the midwife students.
Yes.
When do they start like the on the scene training? Like is it like
Depends with each
immediate?
school. It depends with each school, but it's usually after they've had like a year or so.
Do they have to become a nurse to be certified? Do they have to become a nurse first or no?
To be a nurse midwife, yes. You have
Okay.
to have been a nurse for so many years, and then you go get your master's in midwifery.
How many years?
I don't know. Every school's different.
Okay.
My school required 2 years before I became a nurse practitioner, so I had to work 2 years on the floor.
So there's the layman midwives, and then so is there like certified midwife and then certified nurse midwife? Okay, and so those are the 3.
Yep.
Okay, got it. Interesting. And do you have to have been a nurse in a specific field? Or is it just like, we prefer labor and delivery, but like if you were ER, that's
one of my
fine?
best friends is an cardiac ICU nurse
That's
who
cool.
wanted to be a midwife.
I love that.
She's an awesome midwife.
That's intense.
Yeah.
I love that for her.
She does great.
That's probably a lot of really interesting experience. It's like background experience to bring to like possible complications.
Yes.
Like that.
Her assessment skills were on point.
I like that a lot. Like I really like that. No, at first I was like, I bet they prefer labor and delivery, but that actually makes so much sense to have people from different kinds of backgrounds to like catch different things or know different things or be knowledgeable in different things. Interesting.
And we're all just led to birth work.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. But can you think of anything else that you just really want people to know or understand about the birthing process or being a midwife or becoming a midwife or anything like that?
I just want people to know that they don't have to settle.
I like it.
They don't have to settle. There's going to be someone out there that is for you. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but there's someone that will fit you.
I love that so much.
Because, like, I love these people. They're on my Facebook. I have pictures of their children. I watch them grow up. Like, they are my family now. They will forever be part of me. So you want to find someone who you feel like is going to be a good fit to that group.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with
thank
me
you
today.
for
Like,
having
I
me.
learned so much.
Good.
I hope that you guys learned so many things. I'm so like thrilled that you're here because growing up, you have like a very vague general sense of like the professions in the world, right? There's like police officer, firefighter, nurse, teacher, lawyer, doctor kind of thing. And then as you grow up, you find these niche areas that are so fascinating. And it's like you don't always know where to ask or who to ask. And you just kind of like have a general idea that they exist, but you don't really know what goes into that. So I was so excited about this. I was talking about this all weekend. I'm so excited to learn like what it is to be a midwife.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I just never knew, but thank you so much for hanging out with us and sharing all your experience with us. And thank you guys for joining us. I hope you loved Sarah as much as I did. I hope you have a great rest of your day and hope to see you all next week. Bye, my lovelies.